One question I get asked all the time from individuals who are just starting out bushcrafting or learning new survival skills is around fatwood. They always have a hard time finding fatwood, and it shouldn't be that hard. And I think where that confusion comes in is, number one, they don't understand what's happening and why the fatwood is developed. And a lot of people take it to such an extreme right away with information that it overloads the person, and they almost shut down over it, that they feel it's too complicated. Finding fatwood is not complicated. So this is what I like to tell individuals. Number one, there's resins in any type of evergreen tree, okay? So as those resins settle down, okay, or settle down a dead branch, they start to build up. So we're looking at branches where they insert to the trunk of the tree, or at the base of a down tree, towards the center is where you're going to find buildup of that resin. And that's really what the fatwood is just the resins that have settled into the wood. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, where do we find this in the woods? Because some individuals say, oh, I'm out all the time, I can't find it. So the best thing to do if you're new to this is go out and look for evergreen trees or pine trees, or if you want to say Christmas trees in a sense, somewhere in a forest that there's large evergreens. Go and just look for that, and that's going to be a great determination of an area that there's possibly fatwood in. And then from there, take your axe and do a little bit of chopping and cutting and see if you can find anything. So I have pine trees and evergreen trees all through this forest where I'm at right now. So what I'm going to do is look for something that's dead. I have a dead tree here, a dead tree there, and this is still a dead standing tree here. Okay, so again, I can't really get into the main trunk of this because it's just too big and thick, and I don't want to put the time into that, but I can get into these dead branches. So we're going to get the camera readjusted, and I'm going to chop into one of these branches, and we're going to take a quick look and see if we find any fatwood here. Okay, so here's what we got going on. We're looking at this dead standing tree. Again, that branch that I identified a second ago, and we're just going to cut down. The closer we can cut into this trunk, the better. We just want to be careful with this, guys. We want to make sure we're not cutting ourselves or injuring ourselves during this process. So I can tell you already, 2 chops in, that this is absolutely going to be an awesome piece of fatwood for sure. So I'm just going to take my time because, again, I want to get down on the inside if I can. Now look at that. You can see all that resin built up in there. Okay, so let's go over to one of our camps, process this, and I'll show you how you process it further to make fire. So we don't need much more than an axe and a knife really to process this out. So really all I'm going to do is I'm going to start out by just giving that a little whack, splitting that open, probably with my fingers a little bit. And it's been pouring down rain here, so there's a little bit of moisture now, but it's not gonna hurt anything at all, guys. It's really not. So this is what we're looking for. We're just looking for all that resin. It should, when we smell it, smell like turpentine. That's a good indicator that there's fatwood in there. Now, Pennsylvania fatwood is nothing like Georgia, South Carolina type fatwood, even Florida. But what we want to do next is take the back of our knife. It has a nice sharp spine on it, and we just want to start to create shavings off this. Now try to keep them in the location that you're scraping into if it was an emergency scenario. But for me, I'm not too worried about that right now. I have so much of this right here that this is going to work just fine. Again, just keep scraping that. See the kind of shavings I'm getting off of here? That's what you're looking for, guys, for real. You don't want just little shavings. I really put a lot of force into that. So we have our pile. If this was a true situation that I need this fire going, with this much fatwood, I'm going to probably double that amount. So I always take my ferro rod, give it one, just a starter stroke. And I say that, a lot of people always laugh when I say that, but we're really looking when we do this, not to get too much into ferro rod, to make ridges. So my first one's not going to be as efficient as my second one, because once I scrape it the first time, I created 2 ridges, and that ridge is what I'm going to scrape off. But this might light just with the first one, not that one. Whoop. And there you go. So that's it, finding fat wood for beginners all the way out to starting a fire. It's a very simple process. And you can see this is still burning, so this really lasts a long time. Really, to be honest with everybody, this is my go-to for the most part. I always carry fat wood around in my pack with me, and if I'm gonna start a fire, even just to make a cup of coffee, it's usually started with fat wood. You could take shavings from there to extend it out even further, but you can see this works out really, really well. So definitely give it a try, and if you're a beginner, you know, just get out there and just do it. But find somewhere where there's evergreens, go through that, split some areas out, some wood, and figure it out. You'll get it, and join the ranks. So this was Dan Wowack with Coalcracker Bushcraft. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you haven't already, check us out at coalcrackerbushcraft.com. And until the next video, stay in the woods, guys.